What do you experience when you hear the word dystopian? In my personal opinion, there are only 3 possible reactions that human beings can have when they hear this word, and your reaction dictates what group you're in, okay? Group 1 is the dweebs. I'm part of this group. When dweebs hear the word dystopian, they think to themselves, oh heck, I guess I should Google the definition of dystopian because I never actually learned what it is. And then while Googling the definition, sometimes they stumble upon this graph that says that no one really used the word until like 2019. And by that time, they were all 30 years old and not super into learning new words. And so they feel a little bit less stupid. Just look at this graph. Group 2, the normies. Most of you are going to be in this group. When normies hear the word dystopian, they know what the word means, and their heads are instantly flooded with titles of young adult dystopian films, films like The Hunger Games, Divergent, The Mortal Instruments, The Fifth Wave, Ready Player One, The Maze Runner, etc. Or perhaps you are the third type of person. These people are very rare. When the people of this group hear the word dystopian, they think to themselves, hey, you know who's real good at making dystopian books into movies? Netflix. These people in this third category are dark, sinister creatures with very few functioning brain cells. Some say that they aren't even human. We call these people Ted Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix. I'm just messing with you, Ted. That was a long, weird intro, but seriously, Netflix has done it again and given us a very weird, so bad it's good, young adult dystopian film based on a novel, and the film is called Uglies. But as you will quickly find out from watching this video, I prefer to call it Uggos, because it's funnier. Uglies is a story of a futuristic world in which everyone is considered ugly until they are turned pretty by extreme cosmetic surgery when they reach the age of 16. The film follows the female protagonist Tally Youngblood, who rebels against society's enforced conformity after she is shown the dark downsides to being pretty. So in other words, it's about ugly children who get nose jobs and turn into regulation hotties, but like in a bad way. Again, this flick is based on a novel by Scott Westerfield. The novel is quite well loved among its, target demographic. The general consensus is book, good, movie, bad. I haven't read the book, but I've seen the movie and can confirm it is bad.
Uh-oh. It's bad.
It is all over the place, you guys. A lot of plot holes, a lot of plot holes, a lot of female protagonists falling. There's some good CGI, but then there's some crazy bad CGI. And overall, I had the feeling when I watched it, I said, we're going to review this on my channel. That coupled with the fact that 8,000 of you have requested this, I am very thrilled today to roast the living heck out of Uglies. But first, something that is the opposite of ugly, which is a word from today's beautiful sponsor. You know what's been so wonderful about breaking away from the beauty industry? I used to feel so much pressure to play with every single makeup product that every brand ever launched. I was always trying different stuff. Same thing with hair. If a new company put out a curly hair shampoo, I was like, oh, I guess I better try this because this is the type of content I make. Well, guess what? Now I am in so many monogamous relationships with my beauty routine. I use nothing anymore on my face besides castor oil, pretty much. I have my 5 makeup products I use every day, and I have pretty much one brand that I'm in a monogamous relationship with for my hair. And as you guys know, it is Way. Because it is the way to go. And this is a true, real, actual statement. There's only one product I use in my entire routine that is not Way. I use the shampoo, I use the hair oil, I use the anti-frizz cream. Now I'm starting to use the scalp and body scrub. I just discovered the Wave Spray. I am obsessed with the Wave Spray. I made a video about it on Instagram. Oh my gosh, obsessed. It is gluten-free, cruelty-free, paraben-free, phthalate-free, SLS-free. It's all the frees. It's the best Wave Spray I've ever used, and you guys are gonna love it. The reason I was using it, obviously my hair is already wavy and I don't always need a spray like that, but I went through this really fugly stage with my hair when I got off the road from traveling all of February. Then I got deathly ill, and then it also got way too long, all in the course of 2 weeks, and it wasn't waving for me like it normally does. And I was very tempted to reach for this little skinny pinky width curling iron that I have, but I used the Wave Spray instead and it took care of me. Whatever your hair issue is, they have a product for you. So if you guys are interested in checking out Way, you can go to theway.com/JamieFrench and make sure you type in my code JamieFrench at checkout. I'm pretty sure you have to do both things to get the discount. Definitely check it out. I recommend everything, but today I'm recommending the Wave Spray. Again, that's theway.com/JaimeFrench, and use the code JaimeFrench at checkout. Be sure to spell my name correctly. Thank you so much, Way, for sponsoring a portion of today's video, supporting my channel, supporting my tour, supporting my hair, and now back to the show. Hey kids, we're back. Ready for some uggos, dude? Okay, so the opening of this movie is basically just a backstory about the pretties and the uggos and how this society became the way that it is.
Hundreds of years ago, people became overly reliant on fossil fuels.
So yeah, people were overly reliant on fossil fuels and they squandered the Earth's resources. Squandered is a fun word. Squandered. They squandered the Earth's natural resources and the world descended into chaos and war.
The planet quickly descended into chaos and war. We call those people
uggos.
Rusties.
Dang it, I was too soon. So whilst everything was all rusty and chaotic, these super smart scientist people discovered a renewable power source, and it comes in the form of these super neat white orchids.
But this didn't solve the world's biggest problem.
Uggos.
Human nature.
Oh man, I was too soon again. So basically, to prevent classism and clanism and all the other isms, the leaders of this society came up with this very radical solution that they refer to as the transformation.
Everyone, on their 16th birthday, undergoes a life-changing operation.
That's right, friends. So when you turn 16 in this world, you get an operation that makes you pretty. When I say operation, I mean literal surgery. Okay, so these kids are getting like nose jobs and boob jobs and chin implants, also known as chin plants, at 16 years old. And not to poke a hole in the plot right off the bat. It's not really a hole. It's just like, even if this were feasible or realistic or logical as a solution, isn't 16 years of age quite young to be getting a life-changing operation? An elective life-changing operation? Like, are you even done growing at 16? Because I know your brain's certainly not developed, or at least mine wasn't. I don't even want you guys getting tattoos. Don't even get tattoos at 16. Let alone a chin plant, okay? The age that the writer chose is quite insane to me, but this is my opinion.
And when everyone is perfect, conflict melts away.
Does it though? Are super good looking people known for their lack of conflict? Their peaceful natures?
Don't be rude. Are you kidding me?
So yeah, that's the story. Kids wait until their 16th birthday with bated breath so that they can get full body plastic surgery and become pretty.
Until then, we're less than, ignored. People call us...
Oh my god, you guys, it's coming.
Uglies.
Yeah! Wait, no. No. I wanted it to be called uggos, because uggos is one of my favorite words. It's super fun to say. It's right up there with bumfuzzle. Why don't you guys use both words in a sentence today? Uggo and bumfuzzle. So then we meet our main squeeze, our female protagonist. Her name is Tally, and she is played by Joey King, whom we all know and love from The Kissing Booth.
Are you a girl princess or a boy princess?
And Tally attends this school that this society created, a school for uggos, I like to call it. She's chilling in her, dorm room, for lack of a better term, her super futuristic dorm room, and she's playing with her super futuristic morpho mirror.
Mirror, make me pretty.
Sure, Tally. This is Morpho version 732.
Now listen, I don't hate the special effects in this movie. I watched a couple other creators who really heavily criticized the special effects and said they were outdated and this movie would have been great in 2010. And I feel like that's true as far as the storyline goes, but I personally kind of liked the visual effects. Of course, maybe my standards are non-existent because I didn't read the book, so I didn't have a preconceived idea of what stuff should look like. But I thought this was cool, okay? And this part in particular was kind of relatable. It reminds me of when I'm taking an Instagram story with a filter on and the filter glitches and I see my own face for a second and you're like, oh god. So anyway, while she is dreaming about being a pretty, she gets a text message, or a ping rather, from her BFF, and her BFF's name is Nose. Because the uggos in this movie get nicknames based on parts of their body that are uggo. Please don't take a shot every time I say uggo. You'll die to death. You'll be seriously killed. They get nicknames based on like their worst traits. So case in point, they say this kid has a big nose, and so that his nickname is Nose. And Tally allegedly has squinty eyes, so they call her Squint, even though she straight up doesn't have squinty eyes. And so again, right off the bat, I'm already annoyed for a second time watching this because the kids that are supposed to be ugly in this movie are not actually ugly. None of them. None of the uggos in this movie are uggo. In fact, they're all like extremely beautiful and cute. Now that feels a little weird. I don't want that to come across the wrong way, okay? I'm certainly not suggesting that like the casting directors had posted a job on backstage.com that said like, we are looking for some super ugly people, because, you know, all people are beautiful in their own way. I really feel that way. I'm not even being sarcastic. What I'm suggesting is, for the purpose of a film, I feel like they could have just put in a little bit of effort to make these actors look a little bit worse, you know? Like they could have easily given Joey King like a monobrow and like a couple zits. In fact, like I didn't read the book, but I did read some passages of the book in my research, and Tally is actually described as having, quote, a trio of pimples on her too large forehead with crazy thin lips and a rat nest for hair. And that was verbatim. Yeah. I'm just kidding. It was way better written than that. But that was pretty close. That was just really, really strange to me. That's such a massive part of the story. The story is called Uglies, and they didn't try to make these kids look ugly. So anyway, Tally and Nose go up to the rooftop and they look across the water. Amy Winehouse, anyone? They look across the water, they put on these kind of high-tech glasses so they can see everybody up close, and they watch all the pretty people partying and dancing with LED butterflies and stuff. Which, side note, I guess that's what you do when you become a pretty, is you just like party, drink awesome shooters, and soak up each other's awesomeness. So friends, this happens to be the night before Nose's 16th birthday, meaning it is his last night as an Uggo. And they're super excited. They're talking about all like how fun it's gonna be when he becomes a hottie. And we find out that they have been friends since they were little bitty kids. They go way back, and they kind of allude to them being like a little bit in love at this part, kind of.
You've always been the best part of this place.
And then they make this pact that in 1 month's time, they will meet at this secret bridge.
Meet me at the bridge in 1 month.
And Nose will tell Tally all about being a regulation hottie while she remains an Uggo because she's 3 months younger than him.
I mean, you will be there in exactly 3 months.
Yeah, but not tomorrow, like you.
And this is really the only interaction we see between Nose and Tally before he becomes a pretty. And I wanted a little bit more. There is one other scene where it's like a flashback and they show them meeting as little kids. But I don't know, in order for me to care about him when he comes back later in the story, I wish I would have known the Uggo version of his character a little bit more. But alas, we only get 2 scenes of them. One is this one, and another one is when he calls Tally ugly.
Just because you're ugly doesn't mean you're slow.
When I get longer legs, I'm going to destroy you.
That's so jarring. I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, okay, I know we're all Uggos here, but like, don't single me out and call me ugly, okay? It's like how when you call yourself fat, but your friends aren't allowed to. It was also interesting for me to hear Tally say, when my legs are longer, because that makes me think that these people have some sort of like high-tech surgical technology that us Rusties don't have that can make your legs longer. But like, you would want them to make your torso longer too, right? Otherwise you'd have crazy weird proportions. So the next day, there's like a big ceremony. It reminded me of like the faction ceremony from Divergent or the Hunger Games, all the young adult dystopian ceremony scenes. So Nose goes off for his pretty procedure. And like I said, he and Tally will not see each other again for a while, because once you become pretty, you leave, you cross the bridge to go over to like the pretty island with the cool LED butterflies and fireworks and stuff. Like obviously the pretty people can't stay at this gray school with all these fatties and Uggos, you know what I mean? You know exactly what I mean, Bert.
You know exactly what I mean, Bert.
So as time passes, Nose appears to suddenly be completely ghosting Tally. He never texts her back, or he doesn't ping her back. That's what they call it. And so she gets all sad and super depressed, and I can't say I blame her. Like, A, she has no contact with her best friend, but B, this school that they go to just seems so depressing. It's so gray. Everything is gray. The walls are gray, the uniforms are gray, the outside is gray, the sky is gray. It's all just gray.
Everything is
Gray. And it has cool technology and stuff, but they're like alone. They don't seem to have roommates or anything. If they want something, they basically have to ask Siri/Alexa for it, and then it gets delivered to them through this hole in the wall.
Give me the toothbrush pill, please.
1 toothbrush pill.
I would hate it here personally. Plus, they're ugly. You know what I mean? Look at Talia. you know? Kind of hard for me to look at her perfectly flawless skin and full lips and doe eyes. Well, the time finally comes, the walrus said, to go meet Nose at the bridge. Even though she's heard 0 words from him in the last month, she still wants to keep their date because she's a good friend. Now here's the thing, you guys. This school for Uggos is very, very strict, okay? They have these like big spaceship things that fly around the grounds. They call them wardens, and they like patrol the grounds, keeping a watch, making sure the students aren't out of their beds when they're not supposed to be, etc. And also, their rooms have this super high-tech tech that can detect body heat and can know if somebody is in their bed or not. And they also wear these rings. It reminds me of like the Aura ring. They track them and they like take their vital signs. You get it. You know exactly what I mean, Bert. But luckily, Tali is much smarter than all of this insanely futuristic technology, and she knows how to like buck the system. So she puts a little buddy heater in her bed to make it seem like body heat's there, and then she does this cool sick trick with her ring to like disable the barrier.
Open window.
It kind of reminds me of like a cheat code on an Xbox controller, you know? BABA select start, you got 30 lives. Know what I'm saying? So Tali shows up to the bridge where she's supposed to meet Nose, but he is nowhere to be found. No one knows where Nose is. So she decides that she's gonna cross the bridge and go find him. She kind of like parkours her way up there. She has very impressive athleticism, and she parkours herself over to the land of pretties. I just realized I don't actually know what the place is called, like where you go and you're pretty. But I feel like we should come up with our own name that's hilarious. Like what rhymes with city? Pretty? Oh my god. Pretty city. Oh my god. Actually, no, that's stupid, isn't it? Is that stupid? You guys can tell me if it's stupid. It's fine. It's fine. So she makes her way over to Pretty City, and there's some kids partying, and they drop this piggy mask. And she puts the piggy mask on, and it like Cinderella's her. It turns her into a princess, a piggy princess. And this is where I was like, okay, wait, I'm kind of into this. Like, I liked the whole beautiful technology thing. I love technology. I love technology.
Yes, I love technology.
I'm a bit of a sucker for like colorful neon lights and stuff, and so I was watching this on my new projector, which is like 120 inches. I had my sound system on, and she's walking through with all the fireworks and LED butterflies, and the song choice, I don't know what this song is, I need to look it up, but the song choice they played when she's exploring Pretty City, like, it did something to my soul. It was a whole experience. So good job, whoever did that part. I looked up on IMDb who did the visual effects for this movie, and it's like a list of 467 people, so good job, all 467 of you. Each one of them must have been responsible for one butterfly. Or one piece of confetti. So anyway, she finds Paris. By the way, Nose's real name is Paris. I forgot to tell you that. So she finds Paris, who again is now a hottie, and he doesn't recognize her because she has a piggy mask on, even though she's his lifelong best friend. But that's how it goes, right, guys? We know this. If you have this part of your face covered, nobody knows it's you, see? It's not me.
Nose. It's me.
So she reveals that it's her, you know, and Nose is basically just like, oh yeah, oops, I like didn't feel like keeping our pact.
You weren't at the bridge.
I didn't really know what we'd talk about.
So yeah, he's a big douchebag now because he became pretty and got gold eyes. So
I mean, you'll get it when you're pretty.
right now you just don't understand, you know, because you're ugly. Way, 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 way too ugly and hideous and zitty. So basically you're Zidious. So.
An unwelcome individual has been detected.
Did you hear that, guys? An unwelcome individual hath been detected. So in other words, it's an Uggo alert. Woo, woo, woo! It's the Uggo police. Oh wait, I need my cop hat.
A few minutes later.
Never mind, I can't find my cop hat.
You are not authorized to be here.
Because you are too Zidious. So Tali obviously has to escape Pretty City because she got caught, which is pretty shenanigan-y, if you ask me. So she grabs this bungee jacket and jumps off this crazy tall building, but it's okay because technology. They have cool technology in their city, or in like the whole entire like wherever they live. And they call it the grid, which is like a magnetic force. It's a magnetic force field, and it magnetically interacts with bungee jackets and hoverboards and stuff because it's super magnetic.
Super magnetic.
So she gets back to that bridge and she almost gets caught by a warden, but luckily this fellow Uggo swoops in to save the day.
Get on or we'll both get caught.
And they hoverboard away into the night before they land on the grass, giggling and laughing. And I don't really understand how they escaped from that warden because 1 second ago he was like right there and then they just landed on grass, but they're still out in the open. Like I feel like he could still see them. Anyway, so it turns out that this mysterious Uggo who saved Tally's skin is this girl Shay. See how ugly she is with her literally supermodel beautiful face and perfect body. Gross, right? Shay and Tally instantly hit it off because they're both like rebellious, you know, they both sneak around and break rules and stuff. And Shay's nickname is Skinny because in the book she is described as, and I quote, "Soup's toothpicky to the point where if she turned sideways, she disappeared, lol." And again, that's a direct verbatim quote from the book. I'm just kidding. Actually, when I looked this up just now, the book describes Shay as naturally attractive without needing the pretty surgery, so I guess forget every joke I just made about her being Uggo. So Shay here, again, is a trickster. She's a rebel, and she's very good at riding the hoverboard. So one day they skip class, and she decides she's going to teach Tally how to ride it. After a few falls, of course. You know what, guys? I actually think that fall might just be good enough to be included in the female protagonist fall compilation. It's been a long time since a fall made it into this compilation, but I have to get this feeling. It has to be the right fall. You know what I'm saying? It can't throw off the timing of the fall compilations. But that one was great, so enjoy.
That's embarrassing.
And on that note, kids, we have to take a little break, okay? Grab yourself a snack or an entire meal, and I'll see you back after these messages. Hey kids, we're back. So basically from like the 19 minutes and 45 seconds mark of this movie all the way until the 24-minute mark, we have to watch Tally learn how to ride this hoverboard. Like they've sprinkled a few other scenes in there, but it's mostly just her riding a hoverboard for 5 to 6 minutes, which is a lot in movie minutes. But the only thing I liked about this is like this scene must have been what made people say that the visual effects in this movie sucked, because the clips where Shay is like riding around this obstacle course thing, it looks very hilarious.
Ooh, trick, spin, land, bop, suck that, Tally.
So Shay and Tally, who are nicknamed Squint and Skinny, also known as Squinny, happened to have the same birthday. And so on the night before their 16th birthday and their last day as Uggos, Shay drops a bit of a bomb on Tally and she's like, "Look, Tally, I don't know if I want to get the surgery. I don't know if I want to become pretty.
Would it be so bad not to do it?"
And Tally's like, "Dude, what? What do you even mean? You want to stay an Uggo?"
What's the alternative? Become all moldy and crinkly? I think age lines are kind of cool.
Yeah, so I guess the pretty procedure also keeps you from aging. So they all just look 16 the rest of their lives? I need to read the book.
So you become a freak?
I love that in this world, if you age at all, just normally, you're considered a freak. A moldy freak.
Moldy and crinkly?
Maybe I'd go to the smoke.
Yes, the smoke. I forgot to tell you guys about this. The smoke is this mysterious and mythical place, you know, beyond the borders of the school for Uggos in Pretty City. And the kids at this school like talk about it a lot. There's a book they pass around that is allegedly about the smoke. And the rumors are that some people in their like society have escaped and gone to the smoke.
That place is a myth, Skinny. It's not a real place.
Au contraire, ugly, squinty, zitty Tally. The smoke is real. Okay, spoiler alert. And it's basically just like a campground where people just live life normally, like without LED butterflies and cool high-techy stuff and the pretty procedure. So Shay takes Tally out into the wilderness, and they leave their tracking rings behind so that the towers don't notice them. And they pass through what they call the Rusty Ruins, and I thought this was kind of clever because the Rusty Ruins is just an abandoned like theme park, like Six Flags St. Louis. But what I thought was cool is that their hoverboards actually work in the abandoned theme park because of because they're super magnetic.
Super magnetic.
I don't know, I thought that was like clever writing and a fun part of the story. And right here on top of this abandoned roller coaster, Shay informs Tally that she's leaving. She's dipping out. She's flying the coop. And that some mysterious dude named David is coming to get her.
David. What? He's real, Tally.
And of course, she's not going to get the pretty surgery. She's going to stay in Uggo, and she's going to go live as a moldy freak at the smoke.
The smoke is real, and he'll be here any minute.
Are you kidding me?
But Tally doesn't want to go live off the land with a bunch of ugly people.
They grow their own food there, Tally. And I've heard it smells like the sea.
Oh, okay, so it smells like rotten fish? I can't say Shay is making a very convincing argument, like, to a teenager. Like, we all know that the smoke is obviously the better choice, but, like, to a teenager who grew up in this high-tech society and it's all she's ever known, you think you're gonna convince her by being like, hey, why don't you give up all that pretty stuff and stay ugly and come hang out with a bunch of mushroom pickers doing manual labor where it smells real fishy? It kind of reminds me of when Nick tries to convince me to go camping. He's like, yeah, babe, we can lay on the cold, hard ground with bugs crawling inside of us and we won't get any sleep at all because of creepy sounds coming from the woods. And we can do all that with a bunch of people we don't like that much. Anyway, so Tally doesn't want to go.
I don't want to be free. I want to be pretty.
So Shay gives her a piece of paper that has directions to the smoke in case she changes her mind. She dips out, and Tally heads the next day to her pretty procedure.
You waited your entire lives for this moment.
Ledger heart.
But what's that, friends? Something strange occurs. Everybody in the waiting room gets called back for their surgery one by one, except Tally Youngblood.
Shoot.
Tally Youngblood.
Is something wrong?
Yeah, so this big burly dude comes and gets her and takes her to see the big head honcho, Dr. Cable.
I'm Dr. Cable. Please come in.
Okay, so Dr. Cable here is obviously played by Laverne Cox, whom you may know from Orange is the New Black. And a lot of people who were big fans of the book I saw were like kind of disappointed in how they made her look. Because I guess she's supposed to be like super pretty, but also super scary looking. Which I don't exactly understand how pretty and scary can go together at the same time. I don't know. But super fans of the story felt like Laverne Cox here is pretty, but not scary. But what could they have done? Put fangs on her or something? That actually would have been kind of sick. So Dr. Cable is the leader of like the society, I guess. She's like the President Snow from the Hunger Games or Janine from Divergent. You get it. You know exactly what I mean, Bert. Anyway, Dr. Cable explains that the reason that they pulled Tally away from getting her surgery is because they need her help finding Shay, because Shay is missing. And they don't know where she is, but we do. Right?
We believe she's been brainwashed by a man named David.
And they want Tally to reveal Shay's whereabouts, but Tally, of course, is not a snitch. She's not going to snitch on her friend. And so they send her back to the dorms with no surgery, forever to remain an Uggo, unless, of course, she gives them what they want. But then, coincidentally, Nose shows up in her room and convinces her to give up her friend. He's like, just tell her on her, dude. Just tell him where she is.
But I made a promise to her.
But you also made a promise to me.
Oh, you mean like the promise you made where you were going to meet Tally on the bridge after 1 month, but you didn't show up because she's too ugly for you now? So she listens to him. Both Nose and Dr. Cable kind of convince her that Tally is in real danger and that the smoke is a very bad place, and that David, the guy who runs it, is also bad.
They're developing a weapon to attack us.
So, under the assumption that her friend is in grave danger, she agrees to go find her and bring her back.
I need you to find the smoke. We need you to become one of them so we can find this weapon before it's too late.
Well, luckily, as I mentioned before, Shay had left Tally some directions to the smoke in the form of a really hard to understand poem for some reason. Like, the language isn't hard to understand itself, but if you try to make directions out of it, I personally would be completely lost. Up poop creek without a paddle, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, Dr. Cable puts this like tracking device on Tally's neck in the form of this little like silver locket and sends her on her way to the smoke. Now, apparently Tally's whole journey to the smoke was like a hugely important part of the book and everybody really liked it, but in the movie it's just quite like boring, I don't know, and a bit silly. Because again, she has this poem and it says something like, find the one that's long and flat.
That's what she said.
Which I guess is code for find the train tracks, which she does, but she only finds the train tracks because she almost fell to her death. So like, how else would she have found them? You know what I'm saying? And then she camps in the wilderness and she eats something called spag bowl, which again in the book was significant because she hated it, but for us it's just nothing. To me it's just like an MRE, and it's a spaghetti bowl. I'm actually kind of obsessed with that word. Spag bowl. Anyway, so she ends up in this field full of those white orchids, you know, the ones we talked about earlier. They're like the techie town's power source. And she ends up there because the last part of Shay's poem says, your journey ends in a field of white, the smoke will find you in the night. So she lays down and goes to sleepy sleeps, and then wakes up to the entire field being on fire. But thankfully, some dude saves her.
Who are you?
I'm David.
That's right, kids. It's the mysterious David from the smoke. The beacon of hope who has led endless uggos to the land of molten mushrooms. Is it this 24-year-old kid? No. So he leads her to their camp. They're not at the smoke yet. They're on like a field burning mission. He takes her to their camp where she gets reunited with Shay, and she meets some of the other Smokies. That's what you call the smoke people. Shay immediately clocks what Tally's up to and knows that she was sent there to bring her back.
Did you come here to try to bring me back?
And she's upset for like 2.5 seconds, and then she's like, okay, look, Tally, before you try and bring me back, why don't you just give these people a chance, okay?
But you have to get to know these people. You'll find what you're looking for.
They may be a bunch of hideous freaks, but they're good people.
Get to know the smoke.
So you see, Tally's torn. The leader of the only world she's ever known, along with her lifelong bestie, are telling her that the smoke is bad, while her other new bestie is telling her that the smoke is good. What's an Uggo to do? Meanwhile, back at the city, Dr. Cable turns nose into this super techie soldier spy villain.
I can make you very special.
Yeah, so the techie people back at the Gray City are like the bad guys, obviously. I don't know what they're called, but in addition to being able to make people pretty and make their legs grow longer and making them stop aging, they can also turn people into these like super soldiers that get like super strong muscles and they're crazy fast and they're meaner and they're brutal and they can straight up kill you to death with their bare hands. And they are called specials. Are you guys keeping up? Okay, we got pretties, we got uglies, we got specials, we got rusties, we have smokies, and apparently there was another group of people in the book called crumblies. Can't imagine what they looked like. And it's actually just dawning on me that the people from the smoke, aka the Smokies, are called Smokies because they light stuff on fire.
We need to light some fires in the West Pass before we head home. Wait, you set the fires?
Those orchids are toxic.
Yeah, so David and Shay and all the rest of the Smokies, they go on these missions where they burn those white fields of orchids because the orchids are toxic and they like leach nutrients from the soil and blah, 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 blah. It's boring farmer stuff. So they all go up into this helicopter and they start burning these flowers when Shay suddenly straight up falls out of the helicopter at the exact same time that a bunch of those crazy strong special soldiers show up because of Tally's tracking device. So Tally has to use her insane athleticism to rappel herself down from the helicopter to the burning field to save her friend from the specials, which is crazy hard because they can walk through fire, but thankfully super smart Tally throws a burning backpack at them and is able to save her friend. How did Shay not die from falling out of a helicopter? Okay, there was no hoverboard. There's no grid out here. They're off the grid. And how did she stop the special soldier by throwing a backpack? You know, guys, it's bad. In fact, it's so bad, I think I need another little break. So let's get another snacky poo. Maybe some Swedish fish or dots or whatever the worst candy you could possibly think of is. And we'll be right back.
Welcome to the smoke.
Why was she blindfolded? Okay, so as you heard, Tally and the gang finally arrive at the smoke. But hold on, sorry, I have to go off script here for a second. Shay wrote her a poem with directions on how to get to the smoke, but they weren't actually directions on how to get to the smoke. They were directions on how to get her to that white field of flowers, and she said the smoke will find you in the night. So she knew her friend was gonna be almost lit on fire and almost die from smoke inhalation. They must burn that particular field of flowers every day, right? Because how else would she have known that Tally was going to be there the same night they were burning flowers? You know what I'm saying? Ploddle. We got ourselves a ploddle. Anyway, they make it to the smoke, and I had to laugh because Shay's voiceover is kind of playing while they're showing clips of Tally like experiencing and getting to know the smoke for the first time. So she's filling her in, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Tally, here at the smoke, we do this and we do that, and we repair railroad tracks, and we grow our own food, and we do all this blue collar farmer camper stuff.
We grow our own food. We don't have money, so we share things and trade."
And like, am I crazy, or has Shay only been there like 2 days longer than Tally has been? They didn't show time passing, right? Like, Shay goes to the smoke the night before their 16th birthday.
We have the same birthday.
The next morning, Tally goes for her procedure, gets apprehended by Dr. Cable. Nose comes to her that night and says, "Go get Shay." So this literally happened like 48 hours ago.
What about stuff like weapons?
It's not really our style.
Yeah, you know, our style. Us Smokies, our style. I know what we do here because I've been here for 19 seconds longer than you. So then I guess some time passes, and then we see David, you know, the leader of the smoke. He starts teaching Tally how to be a person and do things like shoot a bow staff. It was a fun scene because Tally is covered in blood for some reason. She's always covered in blood, and that's another reason why I don't feel like time passes, because she has the same marks on her head for like every single scene in this movie. How much time has passed? Anyway, David gives Tally a pair of gloves, which kind of makes Shay weirdly mad for some reason.
Objects have a different value here, Tally.
And trust me, I know that objects have a different value here because I've been here for 7 more seconds than you. I guess she's just a little mad at Tally because like she, again, knows the real reason that Tally is there. And she's basically like, dude, poop or get off the pot, would you?
But it's not fair to me for you to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out anymore.
Yeah, you've been here for like 24 hours and I'm so sick of your indecisiveness. I'm just kidding. Again, I don't know how long she's been there because they don't show time passing. Tally doesn't even change her shirt. She wears the same shirt the whole movie. So anyway, Tally is getting real comfortable with David. Okay, they're falling in love. They're falling in like, actually. Don't look at the horrendous self-tanner on my hands. And David ends up taking Tally to meet his parents. And again, maybe it's better in the book, but I thought it was weird that he even had parents, because if he has parents and they're the original ones who broke away from like the Gray City, why is the 2-year-old the leader of the rebellion? What are the parents doing? Just sitting there like knitting? David's parents reveal to Tally the big 360 McTwisty truth, which is that, again, back in the day, they used to work at the Gray City with the bad people, but they escaped because it turns out the pretty procedure not only makes you pretty, but it also makes you dumb as a box of rocks.
These lesions in the frontal cortex, they dull you. You're sedated into a false sense of happiness.
So the gist is Dr. Cable and like all the other leaders of the Gray City high-tech society, the bad people, I don't know what to call it yet. I still don't know what to call it. They give you this pretty procedure that also kind of lobotomizes you and turns you into these just happy-go-lucky, carefree, zombie-like dum-dums so that they can control you. I don't know, guys. You know what? Personally, I think I'd still take the pretty procedure. I don't care if I'm a dum-dum. Sometimes it sounds kind of fun to just be someone who doesn't think that deeply. It seems less stressful.
We knew it was wrong, so we fled. We stopped getting the surgeries and decided to age naturally.
Yeah, we decided to become moldy old wrinkly freaks. So here's the exciting part, kids. David's parents not only worked at the Pretty City, but they also had the pretty procedure done to them, but had it reversed with some sort of serum. There's a cure for the pretty procedure, but the bad guys have it. So David's parents over time have somehow managed to recreate this miraculous serum compound in the wilderness without any technology.
We have created in our lab the base serum.
Did she just have that in her pocket the whole time? So that's the weapon that Dr. Cable told Tally that the Smokies were developing.
They're developing a weapon.
It's actually just the cure for the pretty procedure. But okay, hold on. I'm picking apart every single aspect of this movie, I know. But why even make people pretty if your ultimate goal, if the pretty procedure is just a facade for the brain procedure? Why even do the pretty procedure? If you're already forcing them into a procedure, why not just be like, oh, you're all gonna get this mental health procedure that cures depression and makes you all happy, right? I don't get this. It's almost like the world leaders thought to themselves, like, you know, I'd really like to control this entire population of people, make them mindless, you know, but I'd really prefer it if they were hot. I ain't gonna rule over a bunch of fatties and uggos. I'll quit. I'll quit my job as a robot overlord. So Tally is obviously devastated by this whole revelation, right? I mean, her whole life is a lie. Everything she's always believed in her 16 years of age. Plus, she has to stay ugly now. Ooh. So she rips off the tracking locket that she got from Dr. Cable. She throws it in the fire, and she starts to confess the truth to David about why she actually came to the smoke, but he interrupts her, of course, because nobody can ever confess something in movies of their own accord. They have to be caught. They have to do it the movie way. So they get all makey-outy and start kissing each other, but turns out the fire activated Tally's tracking necklace, which is strange, right? Because when she got the necklace, they like told her it had to be activated with her eye and only her eye. Ow. But okay, sure. So before we know it, the bad guys have pinged their location and they arrive at the smoke, the bad guys from the city. And the Smokies are suddenly surrounded by those super soldiers, and one of them is Nose. Darn you, Nose. All this time I kept telling myself, you know what, Nose? He's not gonna turn into a bad guy. He knows better. So then Nose walks up and kills David's father with a neck crack. Hit him with the old chiropractor neck crack that I don't think actually kills people in real life, but maybe I'm wrong about that. This was another scene I had to laugh at, even though I'm not supposed to laugh. It's very emotional. But like, the bad guys have just infiltrated the smoke. They have everybody lined up and they're like, where is David? Where is your son? And David's literally like 15 feet away, peeking over, peeking at them.
Where is he? Where is he? Where is your son?
I don't know why that was funny. Anyway, Tally runs out from where they were hiding 15 feet away. She tries to help, and then Dr. Cable straight up calls her out.
You performed beautifully, Tally.
So yeah, now the Smokies all are mad at her. They know why she showed up, and they're pretty upset that she literally got someone killed. Killed. Fully, seriously killed to death. Yike. One singular yike. So then the bad guys burn the smoke, which is a little bit ironic, don't you think? So then they round up all the Smokies and take them back to the city to force the pretty procedure on them. Except, of course, Tally and David, they're the only ones who managed to escape. They must have hid behind another box or something. And the super soldiers couldn't see them. Anyway, it's time for the big climax, and we are going to watch it all go down together after yet another short break, an ad break, unless you have YouTube Premium. Then enjoy this annoying 5 seconds of static as though it were 1992. Hey kids, we're back, and it's time for the climax, the Battle of the Bulge. The Battle of the Uggos. So, like I said, Tally and David were the only ones to escape the bad guys, and so they sneak back into Tally's school, and they ask her friends to help them create a diversion.
I need you guys to gather as many kids as you can and create a diversion.
So those kids go and they write "The smoke lives in the sky" with some sort of cool high-tech fire that just eternally burns without a source. And that distracts all the wardens so that Tally and David can hoverboard into the building. And David knows how to hoverboard, even though he was raised in the wilderness, like an Alaskan bush person from the show Alaskan Bush People.
I would not live anywhere else.
In other good news, David is also like a black belt UFC fighter or whatever color belt is good in that sport, because he's able to beat everybody's A and get past all the security guards and let everybody out of the holding cell that they were being held in that Tally just happened to know existed, as well as its exact location. Like, why? Why didn't they do a good job on this movie? Like, how come somebody wasn't there directing it and being like, oh, no, like, that's an okay idea, but do a good job. Do a good job. Anyway, that's the good news. The bad news is they already took Shay for the pretty procedure.
They took her to surgery.
So they run through some like super cool gray hallways. It's like a maze. It's a McMaze in that gray building. And they burst through the door. They end up in the exact room that Shay is. But unfortunately, it's too late and she's already pretty and stupid.
Tally.
Oh my God, Nikita Dragon, I love your work.
Hi, Dragon.
So like I said, Shay is instantly stupid. I thought it would take a little longer. I thought maybe the stupidity would like come on slowly because it causes lesions in the brain. And it's like, if you were instantly stupid, then wouldn't everybody have caught on by now? Again, I'm nitpicking. I'm nitpicking and I'm beating up my microphone. So then Dr. Cable walks in and she's like, get in the surgery pod. And Tally's like, okay.
All right, I'm going.
And the surgery begins. Okay, what kind of procedure would they be doing that requires a circular saw? Are we getting scullectomies? Are we amputating limbs? I don't know what. We're all the 16-year-olds gonna get needles poked into their eyeballs without anesthetic? Like, what are we doing here? Well, friends, I guess we'll never know. Our question will never be answered because just when the needle is about to go in the lady's eye, the Smokies show up with a helicopter, the fire helicopter. How did they get the fire helicopter? Wasn't that back at the smoke, which is like a day or two's journey? Or did the bad guys also have a fire helicopter that they were able to steal? And how did they even know what room that their friends were in? How'd the Smokies know where their friends were? They've never been here. Anyway, they shoot fire at the room where their friends are being held captive, which compromises the chamber. It stops the surgical tools. They're, able to escape. Not only are they able to escape, but David's mom tries her luck at this random briefcase. And just so happens that inside this briefcase is a vial containing the other half of the compound they need for the cure. You guys, what are the odds? What are the odds that she found what she needed in a random briefcase in the same room that they were doing the pretty procedure? This movie could have used an entire another hour to explain things. So they escape to the rooftop where Nose is waiting for them, but thankfully he falls off the roof and dies or something. So then they all ride their hoverboards out of there. What happened to the helicopter? Your guess is as good as mine. But the good news is now they have what they need for the cure.
We got what we need for the cure.
But the bad news is they can't give it to anyone because their soup's ethical and they don't want to force somebody to be cured if they don't want to be cured. They need consent.
Well, does that mean that we can cure Shay? But I don't want to be cured.
So basically, if your brain is being eaten away by this procedure and you're too stupid to consent to the treatment, these people still won't give it to you. That would literally be like if you got your eyelids cut off and your friends were like, blink twice if you want your eyelids back. I do. I want my eyelids back. No, sorry, you have to blink. Well, the other good news is, you guys, that Tally is an American hero and she volunteers herself as tribute.
I'll do it. I'll be your test subject.
So she's gonna go ahead and get the pretty procedure, which makes you stupid and unable to have correct judgment, but somehow, even though she'll be turned into a dum-dum, she's still gonna have enough sense to consent to taking the cure.
They'll turn me in, and then you'll turn me back.
So I guess she must be special. She's more smarter than all the other Uggos who became pretty. And the other Smokies are like, no, Tally, you can't do that. No, you could die. And she's all like, no, it's okay. I want to. And David looks her right in the eye and says, how will we know it's you? You're so hideous and fat and zitty currently. How am I gonna recognize you when you become a smoke show?
How will we know it's still you?
By the way, I know what he meant, right? He meant mentally. How are we gonna mentally know that you're still with it? So the Smokies leave, Dr. Cable shows up in her UFO, and Tally takes one for the team on Taco Tuesday.
I'm Tally Youngblood. Make me pretty.
So the final shot of the flick is kind of like a little cliffhanger. It's Tally walking around some beautiful Fern Gully looking room in Pretty City, and she looks at the camera and OMG, she's all beautiful and Instagram filtery. Yay. The end. Oh wait, side note, she does look at this scar on her hand, which I guess is her and Nose had this Blood Brothers scar, and so I guess her looking at that is supposed to tell us she still knows. She's not totally lobotomized like all the other pretties. She's still, you get what I'm saying. You know exactly what I mean, Bert. Well, friends, I have to say, out of all of the young adult dystopian high-tech society who are actually bad guys movies based on books that I've seen in my day, I have to say that was the worst. However, I haven't seen them all. I never did see The Mortal Instruments. I don't think I ever saw, what's some of the other ones? I don't know. I don't remember. I like The Hunger Games and I like Divergent, and that's kind of what I was comparing this movie to, and it did not measure up at all. And you know what I think is weird? This is totally off subject, and I know this video has to be long at this point, but it's a new day for me, so I'm feeling very energetic. I want to talk a lot. I have to say, I find it a little strange whenever I do a movie review and I spend 45 minutes breaking everything down and pointing out everything horribly wrong with it and like over explaining sometimes why I hate a movie, and then people in the comments will be like, why did you hate this? I loved it. I'm really disappointed in this video, and I feel like that's coming today because this was based on a beloved book. And so I just want to preemptively answer your question of why do I hate this movie? It's because of all of the things I just spent the last 45 minutes talking about. I hate it because it sucks. You suck! That's just my opinion.
That's just my opinion.
So there was a lot of 1-star. I don't actually think I saw a good review at all. Like, I feel like the highest review I saw was maybe 6 out of 10 stars, but our faves are the 1 stars, obviously. So I'm going to read you a little bit of my favorite one. So this review was left by an IMDb user named Cosminus, and it is entitled Green Screen plus Cringe plus 0 Laws of Physics equals Stupid. 1 out of 10. You can actually see the green screen in many scenes, and laws of physics do not apply at all. For example, the girl with the long hair and pleated skirt jumps from a building to the ground and then on a flying skateboard and outruns a flying aircraft. And in all this time, her hair stays straight down while her skirt, just like the hair, does not move at all. Like she's staying in one point and she's in front of a green screen. Plus, bad cheap CGI equals cannot be watched. I feel like when I make petty criticisms like that, it's hilarious. And then when I see other people do it, I'm like, okay, let's go easy on them. Like, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to film in front of a green screen. But here's my real favorite part of this review. Joey King made The Princess in 2022, and that is one nice movie. But in this one, she got a little fat, and the age of 16 cannot be sold anymore. Like, you actually see her older plus 0 logic plus 0 physics of things plus who wrote this nonsense equals bad movie with a star given as to much, and this is as bad as many B-grade movies this days get 6 to 7 stars. Wow. The last sentence says, if someone wants to see a good movie with Joey King, I suggest The Princess 2022, as this one is trash, cringe, crap, etc., etc. Pick and choose. Oh yeah, you liked The Princess from 2022? She was a little less fat. A little less fat in that one. Are people... Did you get the pretty procedure, Cosminos? Because I think you're pretty dumb. Nobody in their right mind would refer to Joey King as fat. Oh my god. Where are we living? What world are we living in right now? I hate my life. I think Joey King's great, and I don't think a bad movie with like weird directing choices is really ever the actor's fault. Because listen, this is what I always say. Even if there's a moment of bad acting, it is the director and producer's job to be like, hey, let's do another take of that. Right? We can't all nail every take the first time. You know how many times I re-say lines even in something as simple as a video like this?
Yes.
Why am I going on this tangent? Nobody said she was a bad actress. Anyway, this reviewer is a dweeb. However, if you scroll the 1-star reviews page, there's a lot of good gems in there. Check it out. So because this is a Netflix movie, like a Netflix original, we can't get the box office info. But I did see that when this was released last fall, it got 26.8 million views just in that week. And it was the #1 movie on Netflix. And like, I get it. You get the views, you get the clicks. Like a lot of people were interested, myself included. That don't make it good, you know what I mean? I've gotten a ton of views on videos that were pure garbage just based on the title and thumbnail. Hey, that makes me realize that streaming services are kind of like YouTube. Like there's probably someone at Netflix sitting there like doing exactly what I do when a project is complete, being like, oh, I wonder if this title would do better. Should I put emojis in the thumbnail? Should I put my own face or just the face of the person I'm talking about? What is a horseshoe? So that's all for me today, friends. I'm getting on a flight at 8 a.m. to go to Philadelphia for my last show of the Just Okay tour, which is already passed by the time you're seeing this, but I just wanted to tell you a zillion thank yous if you made it this far. You guys are real ones. You make the job worth it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Don't forget, you can check out Nick's channel if you're interested in guitar. He needs some dudes over there. Like all my girls are going over there, which is so wonderful and lovely. And I totally get why you want to go watch his channel because he's super fine. But he needs some dudes, you know what I'm saying? Any of my male friends watching, go check out Nick. Check out French Roast, my clothing line. And don't forget to check out today's sponsor, Way. I love you, friends. I gotta go practice my hoverboard. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. Hey, I'm getting pretty good at that.
Y'all want to see my tits? Coming here live from Tits and Grits. Tits and Grits.
Will you tell me what you want? I've got to go.
Can we do this? We jump.
Why?
I don't know.
Let's jump at the same time. 1, 2, 3. You suck.
You suck.
Nicholas, where did you put my glasses? Oh, where's my Sam Sparks glasses? They were just here on the floor where I left them. Nicholas, what did you do? Oh, my kidney hurts. Did you see a pair of glasses on the floor next to my desk? Did you move them? Or are they now? Okay, thank you. He put them where they go, and I couldn't find them. You know what I mean? I can only find stuff when it's messy. This is cozy. What do I look like? Do I look like a pile of actual trash? Kinda. You know what I don't like about weight loss, kids? Is that it aged my neck. Now I got all these tendons in my neck that you can see. And I don't like it. Right, I don't really like it. It's a little bit ironic. Don't you think? It's like crying on your wedding day. Sorry,